going on out there, ladies and gentlemen? We are back to give you guys a brand new recap, spoiler discussion after show for episode 4, Obi-Wan. It is me and Ant here and Mr. Vader himself in the backdrop. Hopefully you guys, we appreciate you guys for all your feedback for the last episode 3, even though we gave it to a little late. This is going to be a little late and a dollar short as well. But bear with us, and we're going to get into this. So, just full disclosure, neither me or Ant have talked about how we felt about this episode. I think I know a little bit about how he feels, but he has absolutely no idea how I feel. So, we are going to get right into it. And, oh, wow. Oh, we're going. We're going. All right.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
My bad. Had to have some. Sorry, had to pay for this internet. Had to get some bounties real quick. What's going on?
What's up, bro?
Not much. Not much.
So, episode 4, man. So the interesting thing is, the last episode, your boy Obi-Wan literally got drugged. he got literally drugged through the fire, and he got pretty scarred up. To the point at the beginning of this episode, like he was pretty much unconscious. The robot and Tala were able to get him to the tank, and it was kind of a situation where it was a direct parallel. Like it was kind of like, matter of fact, I think even while he was in the tank, it kept going back and forth with Anakin in the tank and him in the tank, and even the scar. I think the placement of the scar where it was set, it was almost near perfect. Because it looked like a scar that would have been on Anakin. But from that point, like as soon as Obi-Wan woke up and shook himself out of it, he was like, "Where's Leia?" So it immediately pops right off from where we left off, but it was also leaving on some other questions that we had, which is what was Reva gonna do with Leia, and what was gonna happen with Leia in that same situation, and also how would they get Leia back? So go ahead, and your own perspective. What were some of the things that you liked about this episode? What were some of the things you didn't like about this episode? And we're gonna go and pick different pieces apart, you guys. So just bear with us.
Okay, well, right off the bat, I'm going to start with what I like, people, because I don't want y'all coming at me saying I'm just hating on everything.
All right,
but because I got
ready.
Yeah, but this Vader power walking to choke a person, choke a person. Yo, the stormtroopers you got to keep up. It's like they haven't seen Vader move like that in a minute. And
that whole scene, the way it popped up, because I think, matter of fact, her superior was like, "Yeah, he already knows." He kind of looked his head down. The next scene, you see him stomping down, and all of a sudden, he got her tail out. He's like, "Didn't I tell you what was gonna happen?"
Look, he reached back. He probably walking and reached back and was like, she didn't even try to fight. Like, he's like, I told you, I live for this. I told you, somebody getting this smoke. Kenobi don't get it. You get it. And so I will say this about this. Even some of the even if you have some issues, some of the director's choices. The use of Vader, Disney has done a really good job with the use of Vader in like Rogue One. In this, like I said last episode, he is that terrifying like antagonist that deserves a mention at the top 10 list of film and screen villains. So I really like that, and even when he was like, and she got to eke out like, I let them go, like he's like, oh, didn't drop her. He was like, oh, what? Oh my bad! Oh, that's good. Good work. Good work. And then the physical intimidation as I'm towering over her. He got closer, and he was like, "But just so you know, there can't be no mistakes." So that thing, there was some after that the conversation kind of veered off for me, but that little interaction was great. I started to love the Bacta scene where he was in the Bacta tank, and it looked like him and Vader were having like a forced connection thing almost. And I thought,
it did seem like that a little bit.
And I really like, or it's just a parallel. Like Vader's floating the tank. He's like, I know you floating the tank too, ain't you, Master? Ain't you? Bet you are.
You feeling that heat, ain't you? It's itchy, ain't it?
But what I thought I was gonna get was gonna be like a Clone Wars flashback, de-aging something. Since you have Hayden Christensen on set, right? I thought we were gonna get some kind of flashback interaction between him and Obi-Wan, right? And but they haven't really used Hayden Christensen besides the little vision in the desert last episode, I think. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been the person. He hasn't been any of the two guys that's been in the Vader suit, and he, you know, he's just only been in the tank and this. So I thought I was gonna get some of that. I liked Obi-Wan when he was rescuing Leia and used the lightsaber in the dark. Like he flashed it on, cut the trooper, flash it off, other trooper cut.
That whole sequence was fascinating because we'll talk about it. Go ahead, keep going.
And the last thing I would like is yeah, and then he like gently puts her down after that. Like he ain't slamming. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. You think a little
Has he ever spared somebody like that though? In your memory? Because I've never seen him just have somebody up in the air and let them go. Like it's been situations where he's grabbed somebody
and let them go. Yeah,
but not have them up in the air. Like I was like, she about to go straight out.
Because usually he snaps you, kills you with the quickness. I thought he almost about the Stranger Things or like Stranger Things, like.
Like you gotta break something, right?
But they like to lecture you before he kill you. Like I'm tired of your weakness. I hate them shoes. like who told you to put raisins in the macaroni and cheese at the potluck?
He was like, you know what? I'm not gonna give you a bad hair today.
Right.
I got to be gone today.
No, your hair look on point. Who does your hair before I kill you? Yo, so yeah. I don't think we've ever seen anybody get that close to die and him just get like if he's starting to choke you, he gonna kill you unless he's making a point to say I can kill you. Right. So yeah. So all that those things. Oh, and I did. I mean, we've seen 100 times before where the rebels infiltrate the enemy base or whatever. But Tala's, is that it? Tala,
yeah.
Tala interaction with the guard. Like I don't know, but it's just that actress. That actress,
she's a good.
You know
actress.
what? She should have been Imperial officer antagonist because she nails Imperial officer very well. Then why am I wasting my breath? You know what classified means? Then why am I wasting my breath with you? and the actress, you saw on her face the concern, and then she flipped the switch like let's go full forward or die. Like so that was all great. Yeah, those are my highlights.
Yeah, to piggyback off of even Tala, the way she came at Reva, she played off of Reva more than anybody in this show so far has. Because she was like, look, I'm going to give you a truth. It's just for you to ascertain which one is right.
You're a spy!
Right.
I am a spy.
Right. Yeah, of course I am. I'm infiltrating for you. I'm trying to get information for you. I know where they at.
Right. I'm out here grinding I'm grinding for the Empire, and when I'm grinding for the Empire, I mean I'm grinding for you.
Right now. I got it cooking, you know what I'm saying? But no, I love the fact that she played off of Reva's strength. And I'm curious, like, do you think that Tala is force sensitive? Because it's just weird. Like she's such an interesting rebel. Even though she's not a rebel, she really feels like a tactical rebel because she played that perfectly. Like I was like, she about to sacrifice herself, but instead she played the smart card in such a way that I was like, because everything she's done, every move that she's made, she's played it real smart. But when she got in front of Reva, I was like, yeah, she about to die. But how she came at Reva like that, I thought it was great conversation.
So the way Disney writes it, she could be force sensitive. I kind of hope she's not force sensitive because I like just skilled people doing skilled stuff. You know what I mean? Like Han Solo wasn't force sensitive. He was cocky, a good pilot, and lucky as hell. You know what I mean? Right. Like so you should have some people in there that aren't force sensitive but can still do things that like we ain't got a
like Han Solo. Right. Yeah.
You know, so I hope she isn't, but it does bring up the point is in their materials, like they pointed out that Reva's special skill is she's really good at mind reading. Except in this show, she never mind reads anybody useful. Like she has Owen there, and she's like, well, she don't mind read Owen. She has Tala there, who she thinks is lying. She don't mind read Talon. She mind read the guy from Externals, but didn't kill him, which was kind of off character for her.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into that because I have a huge theory about Reva, and I think that this episode to me solidified it because it's either one or two things. I mean, I can bring it up now, but I'll just say quick little snippet. It's one or two things. Either Reva is an idiot, which I don't think she is. Like it just doing idiotic related things for the sake of bad writing, or there's a completely different initiative here that we just have not seen yet. And I don't want to put too much stake in that, but because they're pushing that she's such an antagonist, she's so bad, but it's something off about it. There's something so off about it. And realistically too, if you think about it, like really think about it, who has she really killed? Who have we witnessed her kill?
The worst thing we saw was her cut off that woman's hand for no reason. So everything else could have been tactical. Not to say cutting off a woman's hand is that a woman didn't deserve that, for speaking of mine, but if she could be overselling the character, and with the announcement that we're hearing, the rumor of the announcement we're hearing about certain people getting a certain show, and the emphasis on the past and her character, I can surmise that there could be some things leading it.
There's something else going on that we just don't know yet. But we'll get to that because that does play into some of the negatives. We'll get into that specifically with some Leia stuff. But the thing about this show, and I'll show just this scene, this shot right here, right? This shot and this shot right here. This is movie quality, bro. Like this looks gorgeous. This is one of the best well-shot shows that Disney Plus, or even actually, honestly, Disney or Marvel has ever really done. Like, this is amazing. And we're getting such iconography in this that it just blows my mind to see some of the shots and some of the moments that I never would have thought or dreamed that we would be able to get with, like, these specific actors. From my understanding, I think that Hayden is in a good amount of these. Most of the time, supposedly, he's in the suit a good amount of the time, but I don't know. Did you hear different that he's not in it?
I read something earlier this week where it showed the two stunt guys that are in the suit, and they were saying the scenes they were doing. So I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Who's to say the internet hasn't lied to me before? It will not lie to me in the future. But it seems like he's not in the suit for the majority of the shots we're seeing. Kind of like me, but that kind of makes sense because they didn't put what's the name in the suit. They didn't put Mandalorian. Like he's not in the suit a lot of times. So if they can get and also the beauty of having a fully helmeted armored character is you can get a master swordsman or stuntman to do things that maybe the actor isn't trained to do. So I can't knock it. There's a reason why. I mean, there's many reasons why Iron Fist didn't look as good as Daredevil. or I ain't gonna say that's the reason. I mean, the contributing factor was one of them had a full face mask, half face mask.
Look, we are not gonna bring that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna put my sword out, but no. So in addition to that, like you said, the scene with Reva and Darth Vader, I thought that was great. Because even in that scene, she didn't necessarily beg for her life. She was like, "Yo, I got more information here." You know, like she still hasn't technically folded. She's failed, but she hasn't folded. so to speak. So I think that's interesting from her character standpoint.
And it looked like there was a calculated risk on her part. Like she knew she was gonna get choked. She knew she was gonna get choked, but she was like, "I'm gonna get this out." And so that was the calculate. And while she doesn't talk back to Vader, you tell she's not necessarily like backing down for Vader. Like she's not Boba Fett going. They mean a lot to me alive. Like they're worth a lot to me alive. But she also, she had a plan. Like I'm gonna get choked. The thing I didn't like about after that. Hey!
Nobody meme that, please.
Look! I don't kink shame. You do what you want to do. Some people like to get forced choke in the middle of. Look, I'm about the first. Anyway, we're talking Star Wars. So. What are we talking about? But after that, Vader does not seem like so. At last episode, there's a little bit of flame. Even though we just saw Vader douse some flames, he was like, "Nah, they're good. Walk off." In this scene, Kenobi's all that matters. Well, if Kenobi is all that matters, why are you letting him go? he is my focus. I feel like Vader would be still a little bit more like, I don't care about a path. I can hunt these other Jedi down all I want. I want Kenobi. You know what I mean? Like, is he all that matters? Because if he's all that matters, you let him get away.
Yeah. No, we can definitely spit that into some of the negative pile. The other thing that was interesting, and I haven't played the game personally, which I'm told that I need to, which is
Fallen Order.
They've showed that there's a lot of Easter eggs. People have said like there's Easter eggs galore, specifically with the calcified remains of the old Jedi. Like matter of fact, even the fact that Vader had one of the younglings calcified. And it was interesting to me because I don't know enough, but it was very fascinating that they would put those certain nudges in there. Now, at the time, this is the negative and the positive with it. I was kind of like, yo, I know you compromise over this, Obi-Wan, but you need to get the Leia because her tail's about to get fried. Leia's sitting there like, help! And like he's sitting there still staring. I was like, bro, unless you force feed to her, in some kind of way he still made it to her before she got, tortured or whatever. But I didn't know. I was like, yo, Disney, are you about to really torture this little girl and just show it off screen? Like, what's gonna happen here? But I did like, that they're starting to still give a lot more content because there's a lot of room for the mythos to grow. And I think there's one more thing that I really thought was dope, and it's the fact that everything was taking place underwater. It reminded me of what was that planet he went to in episode 2 where the clones were being created?
Clones were at
I forgot the name of the planet. Was it Camino? Is it Camino?
Camino.
Is that where this? I thought this where this is it.
No, it's not Camino. This is the Mustafar system.
Oh, okay.
So I really did like this set. I'm sorry, that was one other thing. I like the fact we weren't in the desert. The look, if I had to work for the Empire, that's a cool base. You got aquatic life, swimming. It's not monstrous or a hellscape or anything like that. That was a cool base. Or tomb. I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed. So that old Jedi that was in there, I forget his name. He had 2 episodes in the Clone Wars television series, or he had one full episode where he was partnered with Ahsoka, and then he had another cameo in another part of it. But he's just this old Jedi teacher. He walks around with a cane. He has this like cane lightsaber type of thing. That's a white blade. He's a cool character. He's really like Zen character, and I really liked him. So it's cool seeing him in not that I wanted to see him in Amber or anything like that, but it was cool. Also, that scene was almost taken directly out of Fallen Order, like to the fact of to the fact of like you guys haven't sealed up this this flaw in your defenses. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. No one will do it twice, and I'm not sure the timeline, so this could have been the first time they did it. But either way.
Look, Death Star. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I am mixed on this scene. So one of this, it seems like it was taken from.
But this scene right here?
No, the Amber scene with all the different I think there were Force sensitives, and I'm gonna get to the Force sensitives. Why I have an issue with what they're doing with the Force sensitive stuff, but the Jedi and the Force sensitive Amber. So in Clone Wars, they use a hologram projecting off the remains of a fallen Jedi to entrap Jedi. Like, oh, we're still here, come here. Which doesn't really seem like that's necessary, but they say they did. Now, in Legends, in lore, when a Darksider dies someplace, like a powerful Darksider, that space is contaminated almost. Like one of the reasons why Yoda hides in Dagobah is because he killed a Darksider near there where that tree is, that tree cave that Luke went into. And so that masked his presence in the Force, right? So there's a possibility that they're using all these Force sensitives and Jedi to power something, which might be a really cool thing. If it's just trophies to keep in Amber, it's dumb. I don't like that. So I don't. There's no point. And I know it's a shock moment, and seeing that kid froze was almost comical in a way. Like, you kept the helmet on the whole time. Did they catch you with the helmet on? Did they drag your body? Like, and then you see the random and just going after random merchants that are Force sensitive and things like that. If that's what they're doing. It kind of messes up some other things. But and this episode messes up some things with Force sensitives. Random Force sensitives aren't just floating rocks or doing. You have to be trained to do that for most things. There's also not this many Force sensitives. There to be a network to do this. Like a big thing was Palpatine needed the Jedi records to find Force sensitive families to take these kids from. Like there's not millions that you have to have a network to tunnel through. Like you gotta think there was. The Jedi numbered in the thousands, not the millions, and there wasn't enough Jedi to fit on every planet that was part of the Republic. You know what I mean? So the way they're and also, again, you're trying to tell us people forgot about Jedi and the Force to the fact that it was myth, and you're itching closer and closer to A New Hope. So you mean in 10 years, where people in Disney can just use the Force like a mutant power? I'm floating a rock. Hey, yeah, the Force doesn't exist. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really flow. And I know what they want to do. They want to open up to have the story. But also, the director came up with a thing that he didn't really know a lot about the lore. I mean, he didn't know details about the lore, and is going to whatever the guy that talked about Star Wars theory, crying, Pablo Hidalgo. I might mess up his name. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like if you're a director, you should at least watch all the movies and take some notes and I think they have a history of doing this, bringing directors in that aren't fans of the lore. Not that you have to be a super fan, you have to be a super fan, but you should know the environment, in my opinion. So
yeah, I mean, I think that Matt Reeves, he has said something where he didn't study the original films, but he did study the specific groundworks of the comics to understand a different way of telling the character. It wasn't as though he was like, I'm not going to read any of the comics, or I'm not going to do any research on the process of how Batman is. But he decided not to go through the movies or try to. I mean, no, he shouldn't. He shouldn't. He's trying to make it his own. It's just very different because this is Star Wars. Because Star Wars in and of itself is its own streamlined lore. And so when you're trying to take a pivotal character that has all these other pivotal characters around them, sometimes that can fall flat. Now, the thing that's different with me and Ant, you guys, is that I don't have as much knowledge of the Star Wars lore and that does. I've not looked at Clone Wars all the way. I've not looked at Rebels at all. I've not played Fallen Order. The last Star Wars game I played was Star Killer, the second Star Killer game. What was
The Force Unleashed 2?
The Force Unleashed 2. That was the last one I had. Now, all before that, like, I remember so many different awesome games and stuff that I played, but I have been falling off. So for me, with this episode, it was just very intriguing. I know that, the Tales of the Jedi is going to talk. It's going to have like Qui-Gon. It's going to have young Dooku. I know that they're trying to make a show. I think it's animated with Force-sensitive children. I'm not sure if that's going down the lines of what they did with the new sequels or not. But for me, with this episode, it was just more so intriguing. I was very. It was like enticing. I was like, man, I need to pull up these characters so I can figure out what this actually meant. But it was jarring to actually see the calcified thing because I was like, who put this down there? Why did they put this down there? It seems like it was actually for something, but they didn't specify, and I don't think we're ever going to find out why. Unfortunately, I don't think the show is taking that much emphasis on it because the reality is when Obi-Wan with this scene right here, which I loved, that was one of the things I was going to talk about the positive. When he let that go, I felt like the whole entire level was about to go. If not everything ruptured. I think that they had even said like after this goes, like I don't know, it's not gonna sink, but that whole entire level is gonna be gone. Now, with this scene, I thought it was so fascinating because the whole entire time I'm watching, it reminded me of a Phantom Menace when the first time Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were going at we're going at man, gosh, I forgot his name.
Darth Maul.
Goodness. With Darth Maul, right? And initially, like Obi-Wan got knocked to the side. Qui-Gon was fighting him, classic style. We've gone over this. We've talked about this. But when he was one-on-one with Darth Maul, it almost as though he started to adapt and elevate, and he started to not put anger into it, but it was more so like focus. And I feel like the moment that he got out of the tank in this, he was so focused that the fact is that he let Leia slip away. And I felt like internally, maybe this is Ewan's acting versus the actual writing. I felt like he felt responsible that he has to get to her. He has to do whatever it takes to do that. And even though his body was hurt, even though he had maybe got mental block here or there, he started to open himself up. The moment that he even like talked about the scene where he saved her. But this specific scene, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it because that's pressurized pounds and pounds, thousands of pounds of water. And he's holding that. And he has not used his powers in over 10 years. And in the past, 48 hours? He's had to do things that he hasn't done in a very long time. And nor maybe he's ever done it. Because that's a lot. That's a lot of weight. I was gonna ask you what would be the epitome of how much weight he's actually holding down if you really think about that. Because the ocean, that's a lot of weight, bro.
The pressure alone, like this is a phenomenal feat. This is probably one of the strongest force feats we've seen, on film, on screen. I thought it was a great scene. Reminded me of something else that I've seen, but like it was a really good scene, and it showed that because again, size and weight doesn't matter. It's your intent, your focus, your clarity, your all these things have to be, and your purpose. So I thought that was a good scene. It showed his true power and how he snapped back into it. Even in the hallway leading up to this, you saw him starting to get used to blocking, and then he deflected, but he missed. He deflected and he missed, and then he deflected and he hit it back, and he hit it back. And so you saw him getting used to, and the form, I want to say it's form, oh gosh, I'm messing up. Anyway, the lightsaber form that Obi-Wan Kenobi Sarisu, it's all supposed to be a defense. That's one of the reasons why he was really, like, Obi-Wan got tired of getting his butt kicked pretty much and learned a form that was all about defense and wearing your opponent out for a long time. That's why he had such a great defense. That was a defense against Vader. So showing him get back into that and back in the deflecting blaster bolts and things was really, really awesome. And you could tell the direction was you're getting better. It's almost like if you watch John Wick 1, he's rusty, but he's still good. And you can see that he's just getting better as the movies go on because he's getting back to his old
getting back to form, so to speak. Yeah. So do you think, going back to what you had said before, and you were concerned about, what was his reason and why he wasn't able to use the Force initially, do you think it was an issue of focus now? That his focus was so clouded because of guilt, and also choosing to push everything away? Because I felt like, honestly, emotionally speaking, that he felt guilt because of what happened with Anakin, but he felt shame because of how everything went down as him as a Jedi. Because I went back through the first episode again, and I was like, man, how he gonna sit there and do this young Jedi like that? And I was like, this Jedi asked for help straight up. And he told him to bury his freaking lightsaber in the dirt and then go back into the town. I was like, he's not thinking. But the shame of what the Jedi represent, he doesn't even want to be affiliated with anymore. It's not even so much protecting Luke. It's more so the shame and the dishonor that he has within his heart. And so between the guilt and the shame, do you think that that might be the thing that, was keeping him at odds with himself and what his capability is? Of course, he's not going to be able to hear Qui-Gon because he's so outside of himself mentally, and he's not clearly focused. Because the moment that he actually realized that Anakin was alive, he actually started to focus and hone in. And matter of fact, that was when Anakin kind of connected with him. But I don't know. I was curious your perspective on that.
So I think that you're right. I think it's probably a balance thing, and his emotions are off balance, right? And the way Jedi access the Force is through focus, balance, meditation. That's their path to the Force. Where if you're a Sith, you're getting it off of rage and pain and just like unchecked emotion. You know. So I think that's a really good theory. I think also he had something to protect in the moment, right? Where Luke is relatively safe because he's supposedly in the middle of nowhere, even though most of Star Wars now takes place. Tatooine's the most happening planet in the universe. He has something actively to protect, which is Leia, right? And I cannot fail again. I cannot fail Leia. I cannot fail these children. So all that. For all we know, this could be powered off his emotion, his guilt. It could be emotional based and not his balance. So we don't know. We don't know.
That's true.
That's really true. So I gotta talk about Leia. Now I think the little girl doing Leia is doing a great job. I like the fact that they based a little droid off Carrie Fisher's real life bird when she was a kid. I thought that was
really I heard cool. About that. I heard
you know, but you're overusing her. like that interrogation scene, one didn't make any real sense. It didn't make any real sense, and they kept cutting back to. I think they cut back to it like 3 times, maybe. You think that?
I think it was like twice they cut back to it.
Was it twice? But, it was some wasted. It was some wasted. In a very short episode, this was some wasted minutes. One, why do you think this little girl knows about the past? You initiated this kidnapping. She had no idea about any of this stuff until you initiated the kidnapping. What do you think she knows? And don't they know like you're just gonna they're gonna really have to explain this, because if she's a known Jedi sympathizer, if her father's a known Jedi sympathizer, this doesn't really make sense that the next 10 years Alderaan is just good. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't it doesn't really fit with the rest of the movie. And she's this important and pivotal to the plot. Like I have this is nothing to the little girl. This is nothing to Reva, except that scene didn't make sense except to have more of them in it. Right? You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. What do you think this 10-year-old knows about this galaxy spanning path when this is the first time she left the planet, which you took her from? So she's been 2 places or 3 places, including that base. What do you think she knows? You know what I mean? Like if they had that scene with Tala, that would make more sense, right? But I feel like also they were like, hey, that thing in New Hope where she couldn't be the interrogation didn't work with her in the Death Star. Let's do a callback to that.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
There's nostalgia, and then there's like you're sacrificing story and time to do a callback, and that was too many wasted minutes to do a callback to get the droid bugged and to show that Leia's resistant to probes. I thought it was a waste.
Yeah, I mean, what they could have done with that conversation, it could have been like, has your father been in contact with, like, the way that Reva, from a smart standpoint, she could have played it off as like, have your father been in contact with Jedi? Is he a Jedi sympathizer? Are you guys Jedi sympathizers? How long have you been working with the Jedi? Right? Because then you're a little kid, you're sweating because you're like, I just met this ninja.
Is your father hiding Jedi? Because we know and that's another thing. If Disney has said that all their stuff released now is canon, you're making this sloppy. Because Ahsoka's supposed to be living on Alderaan during this time period. So, but a cool question would be like, have you seen other Jedi? Does your father hide? Is Alderaan a safe haven for Jedi? Like, you just wrote a better interrogation scene than what we got. Or we don't know Reva's fate. Maybe she starts to piece together the connections between Leia and Luke, and and that could have, because we know these characters live, but how close does she get to finding out could have been a point of tension. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So her asking this little girl about the path, she absolutely knows the little girl doesn't know. I mean, yes, she put two and two together because she saw the little thing, the symbol, and then they briefly told her about the path, but she never even got to the freaking pilot to take her anywhere. So outside of that planet that they were on, the little girl never got to the location, where O'Shea Jackson is sitting there being a whole pound. But it's kind of like, I felt like Reva was spinning gears. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that it's either one, it doesn't make sense and it's idiotic, or two, she was stalling. You understand what I'm saying? Because
three, there's a show that's gonna feature the path heavily, and they just want to get the path in our mind a lot. And
so this is the reason why I say this. Reva was smart enough to know that Obi-Wan would be the one to come for Leia. How would she know that? You know what I'm trying to say? That's what I'm trying to say. And so her spinning gears, she knows eventually that Obi-Wan is going to show back up. But this time she has to do it differently. It's like, okay, what can I do to throw this little girl off guard? And she, of course, puts like a probe into the little robot. Matter of fact, she even kind of like sympathized with her. I had a little robot too, yada, 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 yada. And I was kind of like, then you put this little girl in the torture chamber. And I was like, okay, now I really don't understand. What are we doing here? What is really about to happen right now? Because honestly, from a Senate standpoint, he could prosecute them over that, right?
Yeah.
It's a push and pull. But
she's the princess of a planet. But what you're saying could be right. She could have just been buying more and more time for Obi-Wan to come and save her. That could have been the thing. That could have been a thing. And whatever that torture device is, or whether she's gonna put her in amber or whatever, I just think there was better use of this time. That's just my.
Wasn't that the same exact torture device that Leia got in A New Hope? When they closed the remember when her dad got her?
So in that one, they just showed a scene with the probe droid or the droid coming in with like a long, like a comical like syringe flowing towards it. Look, you gotta switch your eyes a little bit or something. That's the first they made New Hope with a shoestring and a prayer. Like, don't. I'm not knocking it, but and you saw she had an unpleasant time, and they said the interrogation isn't working, and I always contributed that to before I saw the whole movie, all the series. I was like, oh, she's just really strong-willed, or she's because Princess Leia to me is the strongest character of the original trilogy. Like, no force powers required. She is hands down the strongest, most competent character of that original trilogy. But later on, you're like, oh, she's a
sibling to
Luke and a Skywalker, and maybe her particular skill is just having a very strong mental wall, like really hard to probe her. Yeah. Right. The other thing speaking of that, the other thing I'm not really getting is they need to explain how she knows that's Anakin and she's just throwing that knowledge around. And Vader will kill anybody that mentions he's Anakin. If you are not the Emperor and you start spouting off that he's Anakin, Vader will kill you. And obviously they do not have a close connection because he was about to choke the crap out of her. So
do you think I don't think it's possible, but Anakin wouldn't have spared a random amount of younglings, right? Because I'm trying to figure out how Vader recruited her. Because honestly, they've been having more conversations than the other Inquisitors, based on what we've seen.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing. Like, you spared her, but not the other youngling with the training hat on from the temple. So did you show him something that while Anakin's in his full rage mode was like, Yeah, I'll spare you, kid.
I'm gonna need you later on. You're gonna owe me. You're gonna pay what you owe later.
Yeah,
But
right. So, and again, we talked about it before. Like maybe she saw him killing people and was like, "Of course this is Vader," but like she's yelling it out to Obi-Wan. that's kind of reckless. That's kind of reckless.
it is. So that is. Do you think anybody else knows that? Do you think the other Inquisitors know that he's
I don't
Anakin Skywalker?
So the way, and again, if you take that Disney, everything Disney's releasing is canon, and even Legends, Vader just shows up. In fact, at one point, the stormtroopers start targeting Vader because they think he's a Jedi. It's when Vader wrecks house, and he gets to the like, oh no, this is Lord Vader. He's kind of outside your chain of command. Tarkin suspects it's Anakin, never mentions it. I think another character suspects it's Anakin, never mentions it, because if you mention it, Anakin will kill you. Vader will kill you. Like right. There's he captures a Jedi, the Jedi librarian you saw from Attack of the Clones. There's a comic series where he's tracking her down to get the Jedi, the potential Force user list. And while they capture her, she mentions, "Hey, Anakin, I'm not scared," something like that. Like I don't screw you. And the other clones around him hears it. Vader pushes them all out of airlock just for hearing that he was Anakin. Like it is, Vader does not play around with that. Vader does not play around with that. So you have to. I think I sent it to you a couple of days ago. That one scene. But yeah, I think I got a little off track.
No, you're good. You're good. We're riffing. Everybody knows.
Another thing I really didn't like was how they did my man Wade. The most important character to this whole miniseries is my man Wade, and they just did him dirty. Like I cried a little tear that night. Like I held my Wade plushie close to my heart, and just bought some Wade memorabilia off the Star Wars website. Like, you didn't cry for Wade, Sam? You didn't care about Wade? Do you know who we talk about?
Are you talking about that dude with the cap that looks like Mouse from the Matrix?
Yeah. The pilot that they named just to kill. Like, I don't care about any of these characters. Look. I'm gonna tell you what to do. Supernatural did it for years. Dean and Sam are pretty much safe, so make us care about everybody around Dean and Sam, so that when they get killed, we go, "Oh, that was a cool character. Oh, I loved her. Oh, Like, you build up, give Wade a personality, some lines, some backstory. Give my daughter, like, hey, one more trip, and I'm going home to my newborn kid. like, give me something, but don't go Wade and give me. This is like wasted time. Am I the only person? Did you care about Wade? Were you sad about Wade?
Bro, I don't even know who that ninja is. This is what I'll say. About Wade. They used the actress, to kind of give me an impression they had something going on, and
because she looked at him.
The whole point of the mission was just to be support. Like they weren't supposed to be in danger of getting shot out the gosh darn air. And you wait. The Raider Reva killed his tail. She pushed that joint out. She said, "Whoop!" It was weird when she did it. Like she looked like she was reluctant to do it too. I don't know if you caught that her expression. Like it was almost like she was reluctant, but she knew she had to do it because somebody said, "Take them out the sky." Right?
Yeah,
who said it?
I think it was the other Inquisitor said to stop them or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing. Snowspeeders got 2 seats. Snowspeeders are a 2-seater. How did what? Like I don't understand how. Like if Kenobi,
where were they at in the?
Where were they at? I mean, I guess Leia could have. I mean, I guess you get anyway. Maybe she could sit in his lap. No, it was because 3 of them. It was 3 of them in the pilot. So where are they all sit? But yeah, maybe she's reluctant because he was like, "Stop him!" And like, why aren't you throwing crates at him? This is like a shooter level. We have random explosive crates sitting around this level.
Like, I think the reason why I bring that up is because I'm still going off of this kick that she's playing a role. And I was kind of like, normally she would be really impulsive and try to do whatever, but instead she, of course, took out the one that she wanted to take out of, which was Wade, because she knew that Obi-Wan was in the other one, which is interesting.
Could be, but and this is the other thing about that scene. Walking on deck, Obi-Wan had this scraggly beard and this big overcoat with Leia underneath.
Now, look,
that
okay.
was who directed that? Who directed that? Who directed that?
The moment that Obi-Wan got on the ship, right, and he took out a stormtrooper. This is honestly one of the biggest and only negatives I have about this. I thought this episode was great. I actually really, really enjoyed this episode. But for different reasons. But when Obi-Wan got on the ship and he took out a stormtrooper, I was like, okay, good. You're gonna take his outfit and then you're gonna kind of walk around because that makes sense. This ninja goes around with a gas steering cloak, and I was like, dog, you gotta stand out. What are you doing? Like, all he had to do was put on a stormtrooper outfit. It made no sense at all. And then when they were going through the deck, if I was Tyler, I'd been like, bruh, are y'all freaking serious?
Right, no, I got out with you.
An overcoat, and you think this is gonna work? At least put her in a crate or something. Gosh, dog.
Remember the Ninja Turtles back in the day? I got the hat and the trench coat. or Trunks and Goten when they went into the tournament, they just stacked on top of each other. Like, no one will notice. That's what this crap was. That was crap. No, who was quality control for that episode? It was like, how did he get out there? I don't know. He has a big overcoat or something. Yeah, film that. Like, that's how it felt. Also, what I didn't like is how Tala escaped the two stormtroopers. She just smacked one stormtrooper beside the head to grab the other. Like if you watch the scene, she like smacks the stormtrooper helmet, takes it, shoots him. The other one just stands there until she turns around. I think she grabs his helmet and like shoots him. No, sorry, she smacks and grabs the helmet, and the other one shoots him. And then the other guy's just waiting there, and then she gets like it was like a late yes. That's what Obi-Wan did. Obi-Wan did that. You can't tell, right? That's like the best disguise ever made.
So this is the weird thing about that Tyler scene. That Tyler scene showed me, when she needs to, she get her hands dirty because she straight up snot that dude's neck. Now, I was waiting for her to have already killed the other dude because I was like, realistically, it's three of y'all. Like, you did that quietly and all that, but ain't no gosh darn way he ain't gonna see that body over there. So right. I was like, I was left with the impression she also killed the other dude, but I don't know. I was neither here nor there because at the time I was so frustrated with Obi-Wan walking around without a gas stern.
Look, have you seen any beards from Imperial officers this whole time? You got a full beard, like a hat that's not even fitted properly on your head, and a big overcoat, walking directly on deck. It's not even a crowd of people. They just look at. Nah, that looks good. That looks good. Look, Disney, start making stormtroopers serious again. You can't make stormtroopers jokes. Like I know for 20 years, 30 years, he was like, oh, stormtroopers can't shoot. That was a joke. Don't keep making them incompetent because you make the heroes less. Like, come on.
All I know is ain't no gosh darn way I wouldn't see that man Obi-Wan. And this is the weirder thing when that gosh darn machine almost caught his tail. I was like thinking, okay, he's gonna wise up. He's gonna put on a disguise. He's like, man, I can't do this. I can't figure this out. Because it'd be one thing if he could mentally, sway people one way or another, like mind control or mind manipulation. But he's not shown that he's able to do that right now. So I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're thinking, but yeah, that was one of the biggest negatives for me because it was unrealistic. And I felt like if Qui-Gon was there, he would kind of be like, man, what are you doing?
Jacking up. You just fight your way out. What is going on?
What is going on?
Your theory has to be right because Reva, no, I swear. So Tyler's like, I swear, he's on this planet. We got to take everybody there right now. And he's like, hey, Obi-Wan's in the base. Like, from what you showed us, she should have just cut her down right there. If she is not undercover, a good guy, if she's not undercover, or her purpose is just to kill Vader or something like that, none of this stuff makes sense. Go ahead.
This is weird. Didn't she kept on calling? This has been 2 episodes at this point, right? Where she's called somebody a traitor, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
She
Tala.
she's called Tala a traitor, right?
Uh huh.
In this episode. Um, with that, do you think that came from a different place? Because she kept on saying it, like she said it twice or 3 times, something like that. And I was kind of like, I wonder if she's projecting.
That she feels like a traitor.
Right, because it was left in my impression when she had a conversation with the other Inquisitor, was that they brought her in because she was a former Jedi, and that you can't get the stench off of you or something like that. I said something like that.
That doesn't make sense either, because we found you in the gutter or whatever. So maybe she got away. But there's plenty of like Padawans or like the Grand Inquisitor is an ex-Jedi himself. He was a Jedi. He was Jedi Temple guard who was specialized Jedi who had yellow lightsabers, like these double-edged like lightsaber staffs. So that doesn't really make sense. And all Inquisitors weren't former Jedi. Some of them were just captured younglings or forces that they grew up into it. I think they're going to retcon Mara Jade Skywalker to be an Inquisitor if they ever make her canon. I don't know if you know who she is. In Legends, she's Luke's wife and Ben Skywalker's mother. So yeah, like which is funny is so Disney got rid of her, but like even in the theme parks you'll find some text will put stuff or like talking about her because she was probably the most famous or most popular book version or Legends character for like the last 20 years. And so they messed up Luke, they kind of got rid of her. So she was she's pretty much what Inquisitor was based off. She was trained by the Emperor to use the dark side but not a full Sith, and her whole goal was to kill Luke. And so after the Emperor died, she still went after Luke to kill him.
Yeah. So the other thing about Revan, I know this is really surface, we've seen other Sith that look just fine, like Count Dooku, for instance, but her eyes ain't exactly already red or yellow. I know it sounds stupid to say, but the Grand Inquisitor, I look at his eyes all jacked up. The other Inquisitors, their eyes all Seth looking. Her eyes just look plain. But I mean, again, I can't base that as a reasoning because Count Dooku, as strong and powerful he was, like he technically was considered a Sith. But I don't know. You know more than me.
No, the eyes things are just a thing. We saw Anakin had them for a little bit in Revenge of the Sith. It's pretty inconsistent. I mean, you could say that maybe Dooku wasn't a true because he had So it's just a thing. It's just a thing. So you can't base it on everybody. It could just be a trait that some Sith get and some don't. Even though Inquisitors aren't technically Sith, they're incomplete trained. So like that's the reason why Ahsoka can take on like 3 of them at a time. Probably the most powerful one is the Grand Inquisitor because he's a Temple Guard. But even him, for like a Kenobi in his prime, he would not be able to hang. So yeah, you don't know. You can't really judge it on that. But again, if we're getting a series where she's a protagonist, it'll make a lot more sense then. Which that's the rumor right now. She's getting the show.
It wouldn't make sense for her to have a show by herself and her be a Guy Stern Inquisitor or a Seth either. Like that wouldn't add up because honestly, what people want at this point, especially now that they've added to, you already said it, like Darth Vader as a menacing threat. They've showcased that and they're adding to that in spades. I would love to see a Darth Vader show.
Look,
and just seeing.
You can tell a story where Darth Vader is the protagonist but killing Jedi, where the Jedi are the antagonists, right? Or you could do a story where you're giving Jedi, okay, this part of Jedi, this is how they're trying to survive, and then Darth Vader is the menace that comes in. He's the Jaws. You know how Jaws is the title character, but it's about how these people going to survive Jaws?
Right.
like that Vader, that music plays, how is Vader going to kill them? Are some of them going to get away? Is he going to track some of this down? There's a great Darth Vader comic series. It's awesome stories you can tell about Vader and how his role in the Empire, how he's realizing the Emperor gave him a suit that was janky to keep him like in pain or not give his full power, or they made him vulnerable to electricity, like so Palpatine could always like Sith lightning him. Like there's so many things you could do for a Vader series. I don't care about it. There's nothing. Look, I don't care about the controversy. I think the character, for what they've done with her, is fine. I just don't know what's going on. I don't care about her enough to watch a series based on her. I want to see it. I want to see a Vader story, and it's kind of already. And if this is a backdoor pilot for her show, I think when people were like, oh, they're going to bait and switch this, they're going to bait and switch this, they're going to bait and switch this because they bait and switch this before, guys, we want to see Obi-Wan and Vader. If everything you're doing isn't leading to the Obi-Wan and Vader rematch of the century you promised, slow down.
Oh, it's. I mean, that fight is inevitable. It's definitely going to be. I hope it's not. I hope. At this point, no, it's going to have to be the last episode because it's not going to be the next episode. Because the next episode, they're going to go through a process and they get found out. The very last sequence you see is, Vader and them at the front gates about to attack. And then the last episode will probably be the face-off, the re-square off between them two. I'm just curious to see what's going to happen if Vader comes into contact with Leia. I really am curious about that.
We know based on episode 4 that he's mentioned her before. I mean, he's met her before because he said she's not on some mercy mission this time. And so they've had contact before. But again, he could be like, you're a known Jedi sympathizer. I met you when I was a kid. You were hanging out with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've been waiting to force choke you forever. Like you gotta. You have to do some weird stuff to make this make sense. But I need to see more Kenobi. I need to see more Vader. Even leading up to the last episode, because I don't really care about Riva's story. I don't. Or you better give me something to make me care about her story in this next episode. I mean, that's how I feel. You can feel something different. I'm not judging anybody. If you came to Kenobi show for Riva and Leia, and that's it. If you came for them, some of y'all came for Owen.
So the way that I've internalized it, honestly, is I never foresaw seeing an antagonist like Reva. She to me is a pleasant surprise because then it gives something to light a fire underneath Obi-Wan outside of Vader. I never took stake that either one of the kids were going to be involved in the series at all. It opens up a lot more from them as characters for me, witnessing them in these kind of situations. So for me, it extends it, where at the same time, I'm not missing any steps from Obi-Wan. I'm just giving him things to do. It's giving him motivation to get centered. It's literally lighting a fire underneath him because the two specific things he's been trying to stay away from, which is being a Jedi and using it for a force of good, and the understanding of his failure and the consequence of those failures of these two children, what he's going to actually really do about that instead of just staying docile. Those are the big factors in the show that, to me, I mean, I think honestly, this is the best that Ewan's character as Obi-Wan's ever been. Like, I think that even in these past 4 episodes, I've cared more about Obi-Wan I've ever had in any of the prequels, ever. Like, because the prequels to me always were really centered around Anakin. Like, I mean, it was more like leading to you get to Darth Vader when having cool moments, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
I think that people can relate to him being broken because we vision when we get broken by trauma and stuff like that. But he's also, I think that people forget that Jedis are also spiritual. They're not just warriors, not just lightsabers and force power. There's also a spiritual center to it, and that can be broken. It can be phased. But I was listening to somebody review this before. And he's like, oh yeah, because that's what happens. Jedi just run away when they get upset. Luke did it in the sequels, and Yoda did it and everything. And I was like, I don't think you really understand. Yoda didn't leave because he was depressed. He understood that he had to teach the next generation a Jedi. Obi-Wan went to protect Luke. Like these people weren't running away to run from their problems. They realized they also had to wait for a rebellion to form because too long. Like if Luke didn't have the rebellion, he's not winning. He's not if they just train Luke, he's not going up against the whole empire by himself. He
Right.
needed Leia to have the structure and Han to have that pirate
Swag.
like swag. like these were parts of a whole, right?
Yeah.
So so I see why people like it, because people love, we're in love with characters that get broken down and we go, oh, look at that, the pain and the
Mm-hmm.
suffering and the guilt, and this is how you build back up. We love that story, but we've seen it in Star Wars. Can we stop doing it after this? I don't need to see any more broken Jedi. Like, just show me Jedi. This could have been a story about him trying to protect Luke from maybe having to leave the planet or something, or getting Leia, and he could be still competent. He didn't have to be rusty. But the Inquisitor's power could have been, there's 5 of them, or 3 of them, or 4 of them, and so while individually they're no match for him, they're packed. It's like hyenas hunting a
Versus the
lion.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, and because they showed that in when they tried to hunt down Darth Maul. Darth Maul could kill any one of them, but when it was all of them hunting him down, he had to be like, all right, let me take this a little serious. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you could have did something like that. So I feel like you're wasting the other 2 Inquisitors. You gave us a Grand Inquisitor and 3 other Inquisitors, which could have had some really cool, some things we never really seen on live action before, like a 4-on-1. Like, we never seen a 4-on-1 lightsaber battle. But it could have happened, and I don't know. That's just me. I think there could have been other things done, and I'm not sure that what we've seen so far is the best use of time. And I only really felt like that starting this episode, because I didn't realize we only have 2 episodes after this. And are the other 2 episodes going to be this short? Is it going to be really one long one? Is it going to be, because this was like 36 or 30 minutes, something like that?
I don't even remember. It wasn't really that long. I think this is one thing that is a negative of the show. And I don't necessarily think it's a negative because of the amount of episodes that it is, but it's more so it's gonna put the show in jeopardy of people perceiving that they're not gonna hit the mark. Because people are already anxiety ridden because they're like, shoot, man, we 4 episodes in. What's going on? Like we only got 2 more episodes left. So what more can you do? And people are already in their heads are already thinking that way. And unfortunately, a lot of these Disney Plus shows have been like that. It's not
Don't stick
like
the landing. They don't stick the landing. They don't
it's
stick the
not
landing.
like how the Netflix Marvel shows were, where those were like 10 episodes, 11 episodes deep, like a good solid, like you knew there may be some filler here or there, but you knew you were gonna get your money's worth, so to speak. And with these, like even Moon Knight was 6 episodes, right?
I think so, but our review of Moon Knight, right? We had a great, I think it was 5 and 4, where we had positive stuff to say about 5 and 4, and then 6 came along. And you're like, this seemed rushed. This seemed like y'all didn't have the time to tell the story you wanted to, and what's going on? And this is an iconic thing to do, right? In pop culture, you have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen together reprising these roles.
Yeah.
I needed some hard-hitting, meaningful story plot that added to Star Wars. Besides Vader stuff, I don't really think this added anything for me. I love Ewan McGregor, right? I love him in his role. He has proven why no one ever complains about his role in the prequels, because every time he's on screen, his acting is so on point. I think that the Tyler character only works because I always forget her name, and I'm so sorry. This is because I loved you ever since I've seen you in Rome. Your acting is always on point. Your acting is always, and I don't think a lesser actor could have done the role as Tyler as you've been doing it these last couple episodes. So bravo to you. But what's the overall point? Like, what's the overall point of this? Was this just a backdoor pilot? Was this to set up some other characters for other shows? Is Tyler and Reva going to go off and have their own adventures? Like, what's going on here? What's going on here?
I mean, well, I'll say it like this. I've enjoyed the ride way more than I anticipated I would. I think the production value is great. They've made uses of making me. I feel more enticed and excited seeing Vader than I ever have. I care about Obi-Wan more than I ever have, and I never really perceived much about Leia like that. I mean, I felt the same way that you did about the original, but then it became wishy-washy with the way they handled her in the sequels. So like this was a breath of fresh air to the point that if they decided to bring Millie Bobby Brown and give me a Princess Leia, sub series or something like that, I might would watch it because now I'm like, okay, this is interesting looking at her from a different set of eyes, a different lens, so to speak. So
Yep.
I didn't have any preconceived notions about where it was going to go, but then I also don't have I don't have as much attached to what they're not doing or what they are doing. For me, it's been a really good run. But I do fear, like you, that by the time we get to the sixth episode, it could possibly not pay off. Because honestly, outside of the Mandalorian, a lot of these have not paid off in the very end. But I think this has the possibility to. I really do.
And I say this is that I'm coming from somebody who has consumed Star Wars stuff since I was like, so to me, the story of Star Wars, and Marvel Comics saved my life as a kid. Literally saved my life and gave me hope, some moral compasses that I've not always lived up to, but a past. And even like getting past trauma, not having to be forced to be something based on your past or based on your family lineage, things like that. Like I think that I think that I come from a different perspective, and this isn't necessarily for my perspective. You get it? You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I love when things fit for me, but if you guys enjoy it, I am happy. I'm happy if people just enjoy Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like I detest the sequels, but I love when I have a client as a kid that just loves Star and they get something out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm completely understanding that if I come, and also it's not like everything they've done in this has been something y'all seen other reviews. I was like, man, they brought Leia in. I did not expect Leia. You know what I mean? Like I didn't expect Leia. Like that was a big thing to me. He's getting off of Tatooine has been a pleasure to me. Like,
right.
And some of the production value, seeing some things that have only been legends now canonized because it's in live action. Like, it's been great. Like I said, Darth Vader, period, has been. And you know what? If they give me the fight I've been asking for, if they make all the loose ends tie together,
he's like, I'm gonna forgive it all.
I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up. The mouse can come and smack me in my mouth like James Brown come to life. Like I am fine with that. I hope I am wrong. I hope I'm sitting there with a tear in my eye when Luke showed up in the Mandalorian. I'm like, it's gonna be a good day.
So I'm gonna give you an injection of hope here. Okay. One thing we know absolutely is going to happen between the next episode. My theory is going to be on the next episode or the last episode is that Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn is going to come back and he's going to appear because they wouldn't mention it. There was no reason they should mention like Qui-Gon, what's going on, where you at, So he's going to come back, right? But imagine that conversation. What does he say to him? Because this is one thing, even though the fight happened, I do think he was off balance. But I think a part of him doesn't want to hurt Anakin any more than he already has, right? So what would Qui-Gon say, to give him advice how to move forward to get through this with his next altercation with Vader? Because I think to me, that conversation is going to be pivotal to going into the fight. He has to have not only balance, but he has to have clarity. And I think that the clarity is going to come from, because nobody else can give it. Nobody else really even knows. The only person that would give him clarity would be Qui-Gon. But it's weird because Qui-Gon wasn't around, while Anakin was going through the metamorphosis that he did.
Oh, well, in Clone Wars he was. So in Clone Wars, Qui-Gon's voice comes. So apparently he didn't complete his training, so he couldn't fully materialize. But his voice comes and speaks to him for a couple of times. And Anakin even hears his voice, I think, a couple of times too. I think that we're going to get some line about it's not over. It's not over, Obi-Wan. It's never over. There's always a new hope. And it's going to be like, oh, it's Luke. Because at some point, Obi-Wan gets serious, and he excels at his level that he was at in the Revenge of the Sith because of how he handled Darth Maul, right? So if y'all haven't checked that out, check out Rebels, check out the Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan scene. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So we know he takes that serious, and we know that he dedicates, and eventually Obi-Wan thinks that Luke is the chosen one, that Anakin was no longer the chosen one. So maybe Obi-Wan says, no, we failed. I failed. I lost the chosen one to evil. And he's like, no, Obi-Wan, he wasn't the chosen one. There's always a new hope. There's always and look to Luke. So I don't know. I imagine there's some kind of conversation like that in there, or let go. It's not over yet. I don't know, something.
Yeah, I just feel like before they actually have their battle, which is gonna happen, there has to be some kind of clarity, resolve to center him, because that's the only way he's gonna be able to survive. Honestly.
You think Yoda shows up? You think Yoda shows up at all?
Man, I don't know, because honestly, that would throw off both of them. It wouldn't just throw off Obi-Wan. That would throw off Anakin, to be honest with you. I don't know what Anakin would do with that kind of information. So yeah, I don't know.
It'd also be cool. I don't know if they could do that, because at this time point, Ahsoka doesn't know it's Anakin for like another 5 years. So it'd be cool to see Ahsoka and Obi-Wan on a live action screen together. Just because they've never been together on live action before. So I think that would be a cool thing too. And the trio of the prequels, if you include Clone Wars, is Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, just like it's Han, Luke, Leia. So it'd be really interesting to see them have one on-screen moment if this is the last time we see Obi-Wan in live action. You know
what? There may be something to that, because Obi-Wan can't fight the Inquisitors and Darth Vader. Like, somebody would have to be taking care of the Inquisitors while he's fighting Darth Vader.
And maybe that's where he begins to lie, where Ahsoka's like, who is that guy? It's like, oh, it's Darth Vader. He's the one that killed Anakin. Ahsoka's like, oh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't break her heart by telling him that's Anakin. And he decides, I'm going to go with that later on for Luke. This could be a whole cool thing of just showing how Obi-Wan got to where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is hope. We're gonna get a fight. We're gonna get Qui-Gon's voice at the very least. So there is hope, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm trying to shoot a little bit of hope to Ant over there. But yeah,
Sam, you have. I think that. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think the sequels really dishearten me. And I think your positivity sometimes fills me up with a rage, wanting to just I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna give this a chance. I'm gonna come in this with a full heart, and it's been squashed a couple times, but sometimes it's paid off. This last season of Stranger Things, you killed the cynic in me, made me excited about it, and I was like, yes, this is like the best season ever. I'm great, so I'm here for it. Star Wars has broke my heart, but I came back a couple times. I'm here for it. Just please, just stick the landing. Just stick the landing. That's all I ask.
Look, we're gonna do it like this. If the coin lands on heads, right, then it's gonna be epic. If it lands on tails, then it's gonna be a bust.
I'm just gonna rage. Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2,
cut.
What do you call?
Filing out the top of
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind.